Yes, please.
Okay, what is OneDrive? So let's go from the beginning. What is OneDrive? So OneDrive is a cloud service solution. This is a cloud storage solution, sorry about that. This is included with our district subscription to Microsoft Office. As most of you should be aware that we use Office products for email, for applications on our computers like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So this is a service included with our licensing to our full and part-time staff, faculty, and it is a storage solution. So we have access to store our files on Microsoft's cloud servers. And if you are not quite sure what the cloud is or what this is, you may be familiar with other cloud services like Dropbox, Google Drive, and iCloud. These are also storage solutions, so you can store your files depending on which account you use. If you have an iPhone, you may be familiar with iCloud. If you have an Android phone, you're likely familiar with Google Drive. So you may use these on your personal devices on a day-to-day. And OneDrive is an equivalent storage solution from the district and Microsoft. So a brief history on the file storage solutions that we have on campus. Previously, if you had an older computer with Windows 7, which hopefully you don't have anymore, Windows 8 or Windows 10 that are still out there, you may be familiar with the documents folder that would sync up to a file server with a little tool called Sync Center. And along with that file server, we also had department shares, which were previously called the ODrive, depending on the department and just for a shared department-wide storage solution. And that was all pre-pandemic. If you were here, fortunate enough to be here pre-pandemic and during that transition, we thought we transitioned over to SharePoint for department shares, which is also on the cloud, just like OneDrive. And you can access those SharePoint documents on web browser. And just like SharePoint, OneDrive operates on the cloud, and you can also use it on a web browser. But there are applications to install that you can install on Windows 10, Windows 11, and Mac OS, obviously the web browser, and even on mobile devices. So I'll just go through a little demonstration of how to log in to OneDrive. And the easiest way that I find to log in to OneDrive or any Office application, it's very easy to remember, office.com. When you go to the office.com website, at the top right corner, you should see a little icon to log in. And let me show you that right now. So you should see my web browser. I'm just going to type into the address bar, office.com. There are many ways to get to Office, but this is the easiest one for me to remember. You can also find a shortcut on your portal for your email that'll get you there. But I probably went a little too fast there, but if you go to office.com, it looks like it remembered my account. So let me try signing out again. So that icon that I mentioned is right up top. It says sign in. It's a little person with a plus. Click on that. If you haven't used the computer before, you can, it'll just ask you to type in. You want to type in your full email address. And at that point, you'll get prompted to sign in to the VCCD portal. And when you get this prompt, if you're on a personal device, you can go ahead and select yes. I will choose no in this on this computer. And then from there, you'll go on, it'll get you to your Microsoft 365 homepage, which gives you a little kind of brief summary of any files or documents that you may have accessed. And you'll see on the side here, there's options or shortcuts to some other applications that you have access to on Office. And to get to OneDrive, you can always go to My Content, but I like to go straight to the OneDrive app. There's a little icon up here. I've heard it referred to as a waffle menu. It looks like a little waffle kind of. And then from there, you'll see the list of very many apps that you can access on Office 365. And we want to go to the OneDrive location there. So on the portal, once you get there, you'll see some frequently accessed or recently accessed files. If you go to your My Files section on the left-hand side, you'll see your folders that you have in your OneDrive. So this is all depending on how you set it up. You can, if you don't have anything on OneDrive, you can start creating folders. I have just a organization-wise, similar to how you see on your computer, documents, desktop, and some other folders I have on here. You'll see the shared section right there, which will show you files that people have shared with you. And there's also a favorites section. If you have any files that you've starred or marked as favorites, they will show up in here. I don't use this very often, so there's nothing in there now. There is a recycle bin section, which comes in really handy. It looks like I have a lot of screenshots and old files in there that I probably didn't use. But this is a good resource to use if you are using OneDrive and you accidentally delete a file. It'll be stored in the recycle bin for 93 days. So it'll be in this recycle bin. If you discover that you accidentally got rid of a file, you can come into this recycle bin and restore files that you have accidentally deleted. It's pretty easy. If I want to restore this file, I would just check it and click restore up at the very top, and then it'll go back to its original location. So if you happen to accidentally click delete, when you delete files from this recycle bin, it goes to a second, it's called the second stage recycle bin. So you can actually, if you accidentally delete something, instead of restoring it, there is also, at the very bottom, second stage recycle bin. And if you were to accidentally delete something from this recycle bin instead of restoring, the files in the second stage recycle bin are there for an additional 30 days. So let's say you delete a file, you have 93 days to access it from here. After those 93 days, they get cleared from the recycle bin, and then it will then go to the second stage recycle bin. Or you can also restore files there. After that, unfortunately, they are deleted permanently, but it's just a good little backup plan. If you find that you're missing files, maybe you can look in this location and find anything that was accidentally deleted. And there's a question in regards to students. Students do not have access to the same organization as we do as far as OneDrive. They can get licensed for Office 365 through the district. There is a resource that they sign up for. If you want to direct students to the district website, they can find the link to that Microsoft 365 licensing. And they just sign up there and get their own access to Microsoft OneDrive and their services. It's just not linked to our employee environment. And if you have any students on campus that need help finding that, you can always direct them to our tech bar. We do have employees at the LLRC at our tech bar that are very knowledgeable on this and can help students get access to that. So now I'll just go over a short demonstration on different client apps. I want to show you how the OneDrive application works and looks on different devices. So let me share those with you. Okay, so you should now be looking at a Windows 11 computer. So on Windows 11, if you have a new computer, new laptop, let's say from the last year or so, you're likely using Windows 11. And the nice thing about Windows 11 is that it already comes integrated with OneDrive. When you sign into Windows 11, it'll actually sign you into OneDrive, and it'll start using your commonly used folders as OneDrive folders. So on Windows 11, if you click on File Explorer, that little folder icon, this will take you to your files, and you can see the different drives on there. But if you go to your commonly used files, these are pinned right here. You'll see documents, pictures, and desktop. Those are all automatically synced when you're on Windows 11. And an easy way to tell whether they're synced or not are these little icons that you see under the status column. You're gonna see probably 3 different types of icons, maybe just one when you first get started. This little white cloud icon, that just indicates that these files are stored on the cloud. When you see a checkbox, that means you have accessed the file and it has been downloaded to your device. So in order to save storage, OneDrive doesn't automatically download all your files. It just connects to the internet, to the servers, and it shows you the shortcuts to these files. And then once you click on it, then it downloads it and it makes it available on the device. So once you open it, it turns to that little green checkbox and it's now stored locally on the device. And this is just a method that Microsoft uses to conserve the storage space on your device. So you may have a lot of cloud storage available, but you don't necessarily want to download it all to your device. Another icon that you may see, so let's say you don't have internet access, or you know you're not going to have internet access, and you want to be prepared for that. Something you can do is keep a folder always stored on your local device. That'll keep the synchronization state always synced up with Microsoft Cloud. You're going to want to right-click the file or the folder. You'll see this menu, and you're going to want to select Always Keep on this device. So when you do that, you see a green checkbox as well. This one is a little different. As you can see, it's a dark green filled-in checkbox. So that shows you that the folder has been downloaded to your device, and that it's going to be constantly syncing up with Microsoft to keep those files or folders within that folder up to date. And that's just if you're foresee not having internet access, or it's just something that you're constantly working on and you want to keep available offline. And if you change your mind or you're no longer working on that folder, what you would do is right-click that folder and select free up space in the menu that you see. And then that'll free up some space in your local storage, and just keep that file on the cloud. And you have options on your devices. It's pretty much the same across different platforms. If you're using Windows 10, Windows 11, or even Mac OS, when you select your options, you will see options to share, this free up space, and the usual Windows options. But if you go to share, share a file with a coworker, or send an email with the file attachment, you can directly click on share from your device, add a recipient on there. Send them a little message. Right here on this bottom portion, this is a section you're going to want to pay attention to. It's the link settings. If you click on that, it's going to show you the permissions that you're going to be assigning to that file when you share it. So when it defaults now to people in the district can view the file. If you don't want that, I would suggest you change that to people you choose. And if I want just to edit that file, I can change that to edit. So it's always a best practice to be very careful when you're sharing files. Make sure you look at the permissions and make sure you have the correct people and the correct settings you want when you're sharing files on OneDrive. Go ahead and cancel that. And you can see the permission levels on this main menu as well, the little eyeball and then the pencil for edit. Is there a question? Yes. Okay. So let me show you real quick what it looks like on a Mac device. Or actually, before I do that, let me just call your attention to the little icon on the bottom right side of the screen. This is what we IT people call the system tray, and you'll see this little blue icon, which indicates that you have OneDrive running. As you can see on there, when I hover over it, it shows you the description, OneDrive, Ventura County Community College District. And if you click on that, it'll show you recent activity. And you can even go to your recycle bin or go to this section to go to the website to view your files online. Actually, let me show you Windows 10 now. So with Windows 10.
Sergio?
Yes.
I have a question. If I'm over here in the right corner looking and I don't have that OneDrive, does that mean I have to get it installed on my computer?
If you have a Windows 10 computer, which is what I just pulled up right now, you would have to install it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I will show you right now. I already have it installed, but what you want to do if you have a Windows 10 computer, which is the
Mhm.
older version of Windows 10, but easy thing to do is search OneDrive download. If you like Bing, I guess you can do that, but you can Google search OneDrive. Usually the first result you'll see is download OneDrive app for PC or Mac. That'll take you to this web page right there.
Okay.
And you're going to want to hit download. And you don't need administrator credentials to set this up. So you should be able to download, and then once that's finished, launch it, and it'll start the installation process for OneDrive on your Windows 10 computer.
Okay, and we're allowed to do that on our desktops and our laptops.
Yes, if it's Windows 10 and you don't already have OneDrive, you should be able to download and install OneDrive on your computer.
Okay, thank you.
And with Windows 10, it's not quite as integrated as what I just showed you with Windows 11. You do have to download it like I just demonstrated a download page. But once you install that, you will see the icon on the bottom. Of course, it will prompt you to sign in after you install. But one of the main differences when you are using Windows 10 versus Windows 11 is that you're going to have different folders. It's not going to be the same documents and desktop folder on your Windows 10 device and on OneDrive. So if I go to my desktop here, I'm going to have a lot of files that are just on my old Windows 10 computer. And it's not going to be the same as if I go to my Windows 11 desktop computer or desktop location. So if you, let me make my screen bigger so you can see the whole sidebar. If you can see on the very left of this File Explorer window, there is this PC. This is the local files that you're going to have on your computer. So these folders are just stored on your hard drive. And then on top is when you're going to see, after you install OneDrive, that's when you're going to see your files for OneDrive. So these are, it might get a little complicated if you use multiple devices, but the folders on OneDrive, I have a desktop folder in there. It's different from the folder I have on my Windows 10 device. So Windows 11 makes this a lot easier. We are moving to Windows 11 with all of our newer devices and laptops. If you do have an older computer and you would like to move to Windows 11, you can contact IT, and if as long as the computer is not too old and supports Windows 11, we can move forward with the process of getting you updated. But if you don't want to go through that, it is still perfectly functional with Windows 10. It just shows up in a different location, but you have the same options. If you go to the folder, you still have the same icons, the clouds, the checkboxes, and the same options on the menu, the share, view on, keep on this device, and free up space. Everything I just showed you on Windows 11. It's still there on Windows 10. It's just not as seamless and integrated on Windows 10. Any questions on that? If not, I'll go through and show you really quickly how it looks on Mac OS. There's a small number of people that are using that. Are you able to see the outline? Can you still hear me? Yes, okay. Are you able to see my screen online?
No.
Let me try one more time. Hold on a second. I see something now. Oh, it just went away. It looks like we're having some difficulty getting the Mac on the Zoom share. So unfortunately, I won't be able to share that. I apologize. But if you do have a Mac and you want some guidance on how to get it set up, you can reach out to me. Just as I guess I can walk you through the process. If you do have one, you should find the OneDrive application installed, pre-installed on your macOS, your campus owned macOS device. And you should find it in the launcher menu. And once you launch it, you can sign in with your VCCD credentials. I have a question in the room. Yes, Mike?
Hi, Sergio. I'm wondering if you have the Zoom client on the Mac, could you share your screen from the Mac so long as you don't open the Zoom window? Might work.
I believe I can do that. Let me try something else for everyone. Hold on a second. Okay, so you should be able to see the screen from my other Mac device. It looks like that's working. So on this device, I already have OneDrive set up and signed into, but I can show you where it is in the launcher menu or the launch pad. Click on this Launchpad menu on Mac OS. You should be able to find all of the Office applications. And OneDrive is that cloud icon. Oh, there it is. So you see the icon, same icon as everything else. You open OneDrive and it'll prompt you to sign in if you haven't signed in already. And after you sign in, you'll see a separate, just like Windows 10, it's not as integrated as Windows 11. Just like Windows 10, you'll see a separate location for your OneDrive files. But you'll see the similar icons, the cloud icon on there, and just like Windows 10 and Windows 11, if you go to the menu options, or the menu screen, you should see the options to always keep on device, free up space, share, and manage access, just like Windows 10 and Windows 11. So they all have the same features, functions, they just, Windows 11 is a little more integrated with the storage on the local device. And if you're like me and you like to use your desktop, a little tip for macOS users, if I frequently use the documents folder on my OneDrive, I would create an alias. An alias is pretty much what you would call a shortcut on a Windows device. So you can make an alias and then just move that over to your desktop. And then anything you throw into that alias will be sent over to your OneDrive. And that's about it. Let me switch over to the other device. We went off track on the presentation, but we did go over sharing files, sharing folders, and I did mention some privacy concerns. But I want to dive into that a little bit deeper, going through the web browser. So if I go to my files and I want to go into, I don't have any files in there, let's see. Desktop. So if you're looking at your files through the web browser, you want to share something, same options as you would get on your Windows 11, Windows 10 Mac device. You go to, let's see, I think it automatically gives you a little share option. This little button right here to share. And this is the point where you would add the person that you want to share with. The message, just like I demonstrated before. And this is the access that you want to make sure. Just want to make sure everybody always check the access that you're giving people. You don't want to unintentionally give more access than desired to anybody or the whole organization. Yeah, so you can edit, view, and this option down here, go to link settings. And as you can see, it defaults to people in Ventura County Community College District that have the link can view it. So if you just go with the default settings, what this will allow is the link to work for anybody within the organization to view the file. And I can imagine very little use case for this. You more than likely want to share with specific people. So you want to change that to people you choose, or if it's already a file that you want to remind people of, you can select people with existing access. And then once you do that, you can change the settings from view to edit if you do want to collaborate online with somebody. So I can apply that. Now, when I send this, I will give Jess editing access to that file, and only Jess, not the whole organization. And once I share a file, you'll see on this column, as opposed to private, where it was just my file before, you will see a shared icon indicating that you shared with somebody and who it is there. If you are not familiar with who you shared with, maybe you accidentally shared a file and you want to go back and check the permissions, I would recommend that you click on that file and it'll take you to manage access, or you can always click on these 3 links as well and click on manage access through that menu. And from there, you can review who has access to the file. And if you want to remove somebody's access or just stop sharing in general, you can do that from here. I can stop sharing this file because maybe I chose the wrong file, maybe I chose the wrong person, and I don't want this person to have access to my file anymore. So now just no longer included in that files access. And if I refresh, it now goes back to private. And that's about it. Any questions from the people online or in the room?
Hi, Sergio. Can you hear me? This is Susan McDonald. Can you hear me?
Very faintly, but yes, go ahead.
I sometimes when I am sending an email and I upload a file, it has that message about sharing up in the top.
Yes.
And what does that mean? Does that mean I'm sending it out? Everyone is getting my emails?
When you send a file through email, there is an option to share or to send an attachment. So I like to send attachments when I don't want to share files on my OneDrive. And there is a different way to do that when you're sharing through email. I may be able to demonstrate that. Let me try. But yes, you do want to be careful with that as well. If you do share a file versus the attachment, it will give the recipient access to your OneDrive file that is stored within your OneDrive versus giving them a copy.
It pops up when I'm sharing an attachment. I mean, it's a file attachment, but it's for my files. Is that the same thing? Okay.
Sharing an attachment, I would have to see that properly.
There's a question that comes up when you send an attachment that says, do you want to send a copy of this or do you want to send a link to the OneDrive?
Okay, I think you heard Mike, that may be the message that you're getting. Do you get those 2 options when you receive that message, if you want to send a link or a copy?
Probably. I'll have to read it again. I usually just hit no or whatever, or don't share. So I'll read it closer now that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you would want to send a copy of the file. If you do get that prompt, be sure to send a copy as opposed to a link to your OneDrive, because if you do create that link, then you would potentially they would potentially be able to forward that link to other people that you may not want having access to the file.
Thank you.
And you can always check your permissions, just like I demonstrated, if you do use your OneDrive already. And maybe you weren't familiar with these settings, I would recommend going through OneDrive for any shared files that don't say private on them, and adjust the permissions accordingly. Yeah, like I said, maybe you unintentionally gave somebody access and now you want to go back and revoke that.
I'm gonna do that as soon as this is over.
All right. Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Doesn't look like it. So thank you everyone for joining me. Let me throw my contact information on the screen if you don't already know how to reach out to me. My name is Sergio Arana, sarana@bcccd.edu. But also, if you have any issues, if you want to request help with installing OneDrive, or like I mentioned before, if you want to look into upgrading to Windows 11, submit a ticket. oxnardcollege.edu/helpdesk is the easiest way for me to get there, and submit a ticket, and we'll reach out to you. Thank you, everyone.